They weren't killed by the cold. Something inside that cabin terrified them. In 1959, 9 experienced hikers vanished into the mountains. Days later, rescuers found their tent destroyed from the inside. But the strangest part, some bodies were found without eyes, others without explanation. February 1959, Soviet Union. A group of 9 experienced hikers set out to conquer Ural Mountain in the northern Ural Range, a grade 3 difficulty trek, the highest category in winter conditions. These weren't amateurs. They were students and graduates of the Ural Polytechnic Institute, led by 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov, a man who had completed dozens of expeditions before. They were supposed to check in by February 12th. They never did. At first, authorities weren't worried. Mountains have bad weather. Radios fail. Experienced hikers sometimes run late. But when February 20th came and there was still no word, no signal, no message, no contact, a search party was dispatched into the Ural Mountains. What they found would become one of the most baffling mysteries in recorded history. The group's tent was discovered on the eastern slope of a mountain locals called Kholat Shyakhl. In the Mansi language, the indigenous people of the region, this name translates to Dead Mountain. The tent had been cut open from the inside, not unzipped, not torn by wind, cut with a knife from the inside. Footprints in the snow led away from the tent in different directions. The hikers had fled into the night in temperatures of -30 degrees Celsius. They were wearing no shoes. Some had only socks. One was found in a single piece of underwear. They had escaped something so terrifying that they chose the freezing night over staying inside a tent that was their only protection from the cold. The question is, what was it? The first bodies were found about 500 meters from the tent, near the edge of a forest. 2 men, Yuri Doroshenko and Yuri Krivonishenko, were found beside the remains of a fire, dead from hypothermia. They were in their underwear. Their hands were burned. They had tried to keep themselves warm, even as they were dying. Nearby, 300 meters closer to the tent, 3 more bodies were found. Igor Dyatlov himself, Zinaida Kolmogorova, and Rustem Slobodin. All 3 appeared to have been trying to crawl back toward the tent. Slobodin had a small crack in his skull, but doctors determined it wasn't enough to cause death. They all died from hypothermia. Then came the spring. As the snow melted, search parties pushed deeper into the ravine below the cedar tree. They found a den, a makeshift shelter dug into the snow, and 4 more bodies. These were different. Lyudmila Dubinina, Semyon Zolotarev, Alexander Kolovatov, and Nikolai Thibault-Brignolel were found with injuries that the Soviet medical examiner described as impossible to cause by human force. Thibault-Brignolel had a massive skull fracture, the kind you'd see in a high-speed car accident. Dubinina and Zolotarev had multiple broken ribs, bilaterally on both sides, with no external bruising, as if they had been crushed by an enormous pressure. Modern forensic estimates compare the force to a car running over a person. And then, the detail that truly unsettled investigators: Dubinina was missing her tongue, her eyes, her lips, soft tissue, simply gone. The initial explanation was that the body had been in flowing water, but other investigators were not satisfied. One more thing. The hiker's clothing was later tested. Several items came back radioactive. The Soviet government classified the investigation almost immediately. The official conclusion stated only that the hikers died due to an unknown compelling force. That phrase, unknown compelling force, was never elaborated on. The files were sealed for decades, and in that silence, theories multiplied. Theory 1, an avalanche, the most scientifically supported modern theory. A slab avalanche, a delayed one, could have hit the tent in the night, creating a sound like an explosion, forcing the group to flee. The compression injuries on the 4 bodies in the ravine are consistent with snow impact. In 2021, Swiss avalanche researchers published a study supporting this model, noting the unusual terrain could create a small but lethal slab even on a relatively flat slope. The problem: experienced hikers chose that campsite deliberately. The slope angle was low, no avalanche debris was found, the tent was not buried. The footprints leading away were calm and orderly, not panicked stampede tracks. Theory 2, military testing. The northern Urals in 1959 were close to Soviet military test sites. Locals and some researchers claim that a weapons test, a parachute mine, an experimental pressure weapon, could explain the internal injuries without external marks. Several witnesses reported seeing glowing orange spheres in the sky over the Urals in the weeks around the incident. The Soviet military has never confirmed or denied this. Theory 3, infrasound. Certain wind conditions passing over mountain terrain can produce infrasound, frequencies below human hearing, that cause extreme panic, disorientation, even hallucinations. Some researchers suggest the group may have been driven into a collective panic by infrasound, explaining why 9 experienced hikers fled into -30 temperatures without dressing. Theory 4, the Mansi people. Early investigators considered whether the local Mansi tribe, protective of their sacred mountain, could have attacked the group. This was dismissed. No Mansi footprints were found at the scene, and Mansi hunting culture had no pattern of this kind of violence. Theory 5, something else entirely. The radioactive clothing, the missing soft tissue, the classified files, the Soviet government's silence. Some investigators believe the answer is something that has still not been officially acknowledged. In 2019, 60 years after the incident, the Russian government officially reopened the investigation. 3 prosecutors spent over a year reviewing the evidence. Their conclusion: avalanche, combined with a hurricane-force storm, drove the hikers from the tent, and the cold finished them. Most of the world accepted this. Most, but not all. Because there are still things the avalanche theory cannot explain. The missing tongue, the radioactive fabric, the single experienced hiker found without her eyes, the Soviet examiner's original note buried in the files that described the skin of several victims as having an unusual orange-brown discoloration, not characteristic of hypothermia. The Dyatlov Foundation, run by the families of the victims, rejected the 2019 conclusion. They filed a formal legal challenge demanding a more complete investigation. They have not given up. The pass was officially renamed after Igor Dyatlov in his honor. Today, it draws hikers, researchers, and curious people from around the world. Locals still don't camp there at night. 66 years later, 9 names are still etched into the mystery. 9 people who went up a mountain and never came back. 9 sets of footprints in the snow, walking calmly away from safety into a dark they never returned from. Whatever they saw that night, they took it with them.